So welcome back, everybody, the 6 of you, if you're even watching. Today's going to be a different type of video. Out here on the porch having my coffee. It's raining and a little bit windy. This is going to shock many of you, I'm sure. I have always been the black sheep in my family. I have been the odd one out. The one that, when I was in high school, I didn't want to play sports. I didn't want to be involved in stuff. I wanted to be out. I wanted to be in the world. More than anything, I wanted to be an FBI agent. I was made fun of a lot in junior high school and elementary school. And I gravitated towards law enforcement. And now, after years of therapy, I understand why. It was something that it would give me some kind of power over the people that I felt powerless over, all the bullies and all that. And then 9/11 happened. And I was a junior in high school when 9/11 happened. And I had been looking at, it was the internet in its infancy, and I was looking at all these different things. I knew all about Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and all this, and what are you as a junior in high school? What's that, 16, 17, something like that? And I had said, oh, I think something big is coming. I think they're going to attack us. And I'm not saying I predicted 9/11 and the Twin Towers and Nostradamus and all that bullshit. I'm saying that I had a feeling that something bad was going to happen, and then it did. And I looked at that, and I said, well, I was however old. I'm a junior in high school, and I had a feeling something was going to happen. And the FBI that I wanted to work for, that I thought was this great thing from reading Paul Lindsay books and watching FBI movies and all that, like police procedural books, Ed McBain, all that, all the police procedural and FBI procedural books, the fiction that you can buy. I used to buy them at a used bookstore in the little village near where I lived before, where I grew up, Patuxent Village. There was a bookstore called Twice Told Tales. It's moved to the other end of the village now. Anyway, I wanted to be an FBI agent more than anything, and then 9/11 happened, and I just realized that really all you can do when something bad happens is just go and pick up the pieces. And all the firefighters that got killed, I'm sure I'm not the only one who got into emergency service after 9/11. I'm sure there were a lot of kids, a lot of guys my age who said, oh, that's what I got to do now. And I decided, all right, I'm going to go into emergency service, and I'm going to be one of the people that picks up the pieces when stuff goes bad. My mother and her father and all of her aunts and uncles were teachers. The way some families, like, the show on TV, the Blue Bloods, I don't watch much TV, but from what I understand, it's Tom Selleck, and all of his kids are cops with him in New York City. The way that family is cops, that's the way my family has always been teachers. So my brother and I both went to school to be high school teachers. He went to be a biology teacher, and I went to be a high school English teacher. I can speak and read Middle and Old English. Wandered Abril with a shower sota, the Dorota of March had passed to the Rota, and bathed the vine in sweet liqueur, of which nature engendered is the fluor. I basically just told you that when it's springtime, the sun comes out and the rain falls, and the flowers bloom beautifully like flowers, because the translation's not that good. But I don't use it. I mean, I was growing oysters for a while. I spent 12 years of my life as a paramedic. I decided that that's what I was going to do. And I did it all through college, and when I got out of college, I just kept doing it. and that never really sat right with my family. My brother, who went to school to be a high school biology teacher, ended up he ended up taking over my father's business when my father died suddenly. The anniversary of my father's death is this Friday, so that's going to play into this story too. This is basically just me kind of rambling and venting, and if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. It's kind of therapeutic for me, so I'm doing it. It's helping me get it out, so if nobody watches this, that's okay. I don't mind. But my wife and I have not been able to go to work for 2 weeks now because my wife was exposed to coronavirus, COVID-19, through a coworker at work, and she's been showing symptoms, and she initially tested negative, and they're having her go back in for a second test today. She's on her way there now to make sure, because they've been getting false negatives, so she's on her way there. And that's very stressful. That's very difficult right now, and I'm worried about her. I'm scared. I mean, it's not. She's been sick for 2 weeks. Is it going to change much if she has? Okay, now we know it's that. I don't know, but she had a little bit of a bloody nose this morning, and at the same time that all that was going on, I started getting a barrage of text messages from my younger brother. Basically, again, remember, I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm the odd one out, and they don't agree with my lifestyle choices, and that's okay. I'm not asking anybody to. I don't want anybody to agree with me. I genuinely don't care if they agree or not, and it has taken me. It has taken me a lot of therapy to get to that point, and I'm at a point now where I can realize a lot of things about myself that came from growing up the way I did in that family, and they're not bad people by any means. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not attacking them. I'm saying I understand why what happened this morning happened. For years, my go-to in any situation of stress was anger, and I didn't realize it. I just immediately resorted to anger. And it took going to therapy with my pastor at the church that I go to now, and it's not, I mean, we say a prayer at the end of therapy and stuff like that, but he's a licensed therapist. Like, he went to school, to college. He got like a degree to be a therapist, and he also went to another college to be a pastor. But it's not just me going to, the local backwoods redneck preacher and saying, my life is painful right now. Okay, here, drink the snake oil. No, I mean, he's a real therapist. Like, that's what he did before he became a pastor. So I went with him, and I realized why I do that. It's because I can control it. And I even found the root of it, like when I first started doing it and that kind of stuff. And it's, what I'm saying is, I've done a lot of work on myself in addition to becoming a Christian and deciding to live a better life in that respect, and to try and live a better life in that respect. I've also done a lot of, I guess you could call it secular work on myself. I've been to a lot of therapy, and yes, you're looking at a guy with a very long beard who wears suspenders and is growing meat in his yard, and he's telling you, I've went to therapy, and you're sitting there going, yeah, no shit. And I don't blame you, but what happened this morning was I got up and I took the dogs out. I took them both for their little walk, checked on the rabbit, made sure she's safe in her hutch, and she is. She's good. Ruth is safe, and I did the work I had to do on my garden. I got everything watered and fertilized in its little in its bathroom there where it's hanging out and it's in the pots. And I got a bunch of text messages, and it was basically an attack on me and my way of life and my choices that I have made in my life. The fact that both me and my wife are not working right now, despite the fact that there is a global plague, and we have been told we can't work because she has symptoms. But that's I apparently should be out there working in my brother's eyes. But I understand why what happened, and I have always been, like I said, the odd one out. They don't approve of my lifestyle. They don't approve of my life choices, and a lot of it is, I don't know why, but they find it personally insulting to them. I don't understand that, and I'm starting to understand how I'm married to a woman, and I have a son. And what I'm trying to say here is that I'm developing an empathy and an understanding for people of different lifestyles, like the people who think that they're not what their physical gender is, and for homosexuals and that kind of stuff. I've never had anything against any of them. I've always just looked at it as, okay, that's something you do. As long as you're not actively trying to make me do it with you, I don't really care that you do it. I respect you as a person. And I had a conversation once when the whole people not thinking they're the same gender as their body came out. When that came out a few years back, I was working for the oyster farm, and we had people. That's the weird thing about aquaculture. You'd think it's just going to be a bunch of local burnouts and rednecks, but it's not. We had kids and people from all over that were working there, and there was a kid from New York City. His name was Graham, and he wanted to open his own oyster farm, so he was working there for for experience and to get capital together to be able to open one. And we're out there talking, and I said to him once, I said, I don't understand this whole thing. I don't understand this, because we were just, you're out there for 12 hours at a time with these people. You talk about anything to just amuse yourself as you do it. It's very repetitive work. It's not a bad job. I loved working there. I honestly did. I loved working with the people, but it's repetitive, and you have conversations with the people around you, and we're talking about this, and I said, I don't understand it. It's not, I have nothing against these people, and the way that they feel, if it's valid to them, that's fine, but I don't understand it. And he said something that always stuck with me. He said, then if you don't understand it, you need to consider yourself blessed, because his sister had the thing, she felt that she was supposed to be a man. And after waking up this morning and seeing text messages that basically tell me my way of life is insulting, my way of life is upsetting, I have much more empathy for that's what's called transgender. I have much more empathy for transgendered people and for homosexuals, because from what I understand, theirs is not a choice like mine is. And if I'm being attacked like this, I can't imagine what it would. And this is not a video to say that I'm just saying I'm starting to understand things a little bit more. And I'm starting to understand that, okay, you don't agree with it, but why do you have to attack me about it? And I'm glad that it was never something that I actively did, that I said, oh, you shouldn't be this or you shouldn't do that because I don't agree with it. When I ran a station for the ambulance. I was the senior man in the station, and it was a bunch of younger kids, and my partner was. This is funny. The joke was, oh, we want to try to get rid of Nick, and so they put this weird redneck who at the time was living in Vermont, me, with a black lesbian. She was one of my favorite partners that I've ever had, and we still keep in contact. So it backfired on them pretty bad. And she's a paramedic down in New Orleans now, and she's one of the ones that I'm praying for all the time with the corona going on. But yeah, so so she was my partner at the time, and the two other on the two other trucks out of the station. So out of 6 people, I think four of the people in the station were either gay or lesbian. Oh, and we got along great. It was fine. I genuinely don't care if that's somebody's lifestyle choice, and it's not something that I'm into, but whatever, I don't care. I don't understand, and I got a little taste of it this morning, and I've if I'm honest, I've had tastes of it my whole life because my family has never really understood why I live the way I live and do the things that I do, and it's always been something that they don't approve of because they don't understand it. The gardening, the rabbits, really getting the rabbits annoyed them, and I don't know why, but this is the thing, I don't understand why there needs to be this escape valve for anger, and why it needs to be some person that you don't agree with their lifestyle or their life choices. I'm not asking you to come and muck out the rabbit stalls. I'm not asking you to come and turn my compost. I'm not asking you for money. I just don't understand why there needs to be a personal attack on my beliefs and my ideologies based on somebody else's anger about something in their life. And it really, it gives me pause, and it makes me stop and think about how this happens to a lot of people in society, and it's not something that is appropriate. This is not a pro-gay rights or pro-transgendered whatever video. This is me saying I'm understanding that when people don't understand the way you live, sometimes they can hurt you. And it's a real thing. So I don't really know. My mother texted me on the phone and said, "Oh, he's upset. We're all upset because it's the anniversary of my father's death on Friday." And I get that. I understand that. I'm upset. I'm sad. I miss him. I've been having irritability. I've been having anxiety that has been coming up because of this. And I understand that that's what it's from. Occasionally I get mad because there's a mess. I cooked dinner and nobody did dishes, and I get mad about that. But it's really, I'm angry that my father's gone. And I can see that after a minute or two. And I calm down and I say, you know what, I'm sorry. This is what happened. And I've been able to explain to my son over the past couple of months the whole thing about the anger, about how the anger was always something that I would do to escape feeling my emotions. So now when it happens, I recognize it and I say, I'm doing this, it's gonna stop, and I do it, and I stop. And that my family for the most part, is very good about it. Yeah, I understand, it's fine, and because it doesn't last long now. My family has always the family I grew up in has always been, and I didn't realize it until these past few months and really dealing with my own stuff. Anger has been their escape too, and right now, my brother's girlfriend is pregnant, and they're getting married, and they're together. But she's pregnant, and there is a global plague going on that is dangerous to pregnant people and babies. Babies in the womb. And so I'm sure he's worried about that, and I'm sure he's upset that it's coming up on the anniversary of my father's death. I get all of that, and I understand all of that. I just don't feel that that's the right to attack me and my... It's because I don't live like other people, and I don't live like they do, and I don't dress like they do, you have to come after me and attack me for it? This is exactly what I put up with all through elementary school and junior high school. Why? Why do I have to deal with this now? I've moved to a very rural place, and the social group that I have contact with, well, I mean, social distancing with over the phone, they're all people who are similar to me. And, they're people who want to live like this. If you don't like the way that I live, don't pay attention to it. It's not your concern. I'm not actively coming to where you are and preventing you from living in your condo and eating your meals that get delivered to your door that you then follow a little card and cook. I'm not... Whatever. That's what you want to do. You do it. I don't care that you're doing it. Why do you care that I have a 6-month food pantry and that I'm cooking out of a 70-pound bag of rice each night? Why does that bother you? Why does my lifestyle bother you? And what right do you have to sit there and tell me, no, this is not the right way to live? What do you care? That's what I don't get. And that's what I'm starting to understand, too. I always looked at, like I said, I always looked at gay people and transgendered people, and it was like, I don't care. If you want to do that, do that. It doesn't affect me. Why does it affect him? Why does it affect my family? Why is it insulting to my family that I decided, okay, I'm going to get a bunch of pallets and build a rabbit hutch, and then I'm going to get 2 rabbits that my son's friend is getting rid of for free so that I can raise my own meat so that I don't have to spend money on it? If you don't agree with that, don't pay attention to it. I won't talk to you about it. I have a few gay friends who don't talk to me about being gay. It's not something that is applicable to my life. I mean, I ask about how's your significant other? How's Jake? How's, I feel bad. I can't remember her. I can't remember my black lesbian partner's name. But I mean, I ask, how is your significant other? But it's, and they ask how mine is, and that's the extent of the conversation. I'm not asking for detail, and sometimes they'll say, oh, we're good. We went out to such and such a restaurant. Oh, I remember that restaurant when I lived up in that area. I love that restaurant. What'd you get? I don't care. It's like, for me, it's like talking to someone, a straight person. Like, it's no different than me asking the pastor, what did you and Sarah do last night, or whatever. But I don't ask, like, I don't ask my single friends, like, oh, did you go out to the bar last night? What did you, because I don't care. And they know that I don't care, so they don't talk to me about it. And what I'm not understanding is, if my life and my life choices bother you so much, why do you feel the need to tell me about it? If I have made life choices that are so vastly different than yours and that are so unpalatable to you, clearly we don't have the same belief structure and the same ideologies. Would you go and attack the people on that little island where that missionary got killed, where they live like it's the Stone Ages? And, oh, you should have cell phones and penicillin and the internet and porn and Netflix. It's a completely different belief system. It's a completely different ideology. It's a completely different thought pattern than anything that you are used to. What right do you have to tell me that it's wrong? What right do you have to tell the Stone Age people running around Lookout Island, Temple Island, whatever it's called? What right do you have to tell them that that's wrong? It's the same right that it's the same way that I look at, yes, I'm a Christian, and I believe that Jesus Christ was, born to the Virgin Mary. I believe that he lived to the time that he died on the cross, and I believe that. I believe that that's the truth. That's the truth for me. That's the truth that I believe. The Jews don't believe that. They believe that they're still waiting for that Messiah to come. That's what they believe. That's what their entire thought process and their entire ideology tells them. That's what their culture is. Muslims, the Muslims, Islam, they believe that Jesus was a prophet. He's in there somewhere. I don't really know the specifics of how he's in the Quran, but he's in there for a little bit. He's like a bit pot. But they have their own thing that they believe, and that's their culture. I'll sit down and I'll have conversations with a Muslim or with a Jewish person, and I'll learn a lot from them about their beliefs, but I'm not going to sit there and try to tell them that, hey, this thing that you were raised to believe from the same time I was raised to believe, that I believe what I believe. I'm not going to try to tell them that's wrong. I'm going to try to learn from them, and I'm going to try to understand their religion a little bit and their ideology, because it interests me when someone has a different lifestyle and a different thought process than me. I don't, if it's, and I'm stumbling over this now, but why the first knee-jerk reaction to something that someone doesn't understand is a complete attack is beyond me. I can keep rambling, but it's probably useless. I will say that as I was, right before I started filming this, my mother texted me and said, oh, we're all upset right now, and it's with, Dad's death anniversary coming up and this and that. And I said, yeah, I know. I understand that, and I love you, and I love my brother, too. I said, but I'm not going to get attacked because you people don't like the way I live, and I'm not going to change the way I live or the way I dress because it's something that you're not comfortable with. If you don't like it, don't pay attention to it. If you don't like it, don't invite me over to barbecues and stuff. It's going to embarrass you that I'm wearing suspenders while you and your friends are playing cornhole and doing a barbecue. I've made a choice to live my life a certain way. I am not asking for assistance to live this way. I'm not asking anybody else to live this way. Why does anybody have any right or any feeling that they have any right to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong? I just hope that if before I had ever figured this out, if I was ever, and I know there were times when I was insensitive racially and homophobically and that kind of stuff. I know there have been times in my life. I can't remember specifics, but I know I've not always been an understanding person. I have been an angry person, and that anger has expressed itself at targets of opportunity. And feeling the way that I feel now after being attacked for the way I live my life and the way I choose to live and dress, I'm ashamed that I know I did those things in the past. Don't get me wrong, I'm ashamed of that, but more importantly, I'm upset that people felt the way that I feel now because of something that I did. Because I presumed to know better about how they should live their lives. And it's been enlightening for me this morning. So I have to be thankful for that. But I appreciate the fact that I can record this somewhere, and I can talk all of these feelings out, even if nobody's going to be watching it. So if nothing else, thank you for that. And I hope wherever you are that you're comfortable and that God is with you. Thank you.